Hi, parents, and welcome to the parent information session for the CogAT screener. My name's Karen Bradley, and I am subbing for Marianne White for the duration of her leave of absence this year. In this presentation, I hope that we can answer these questions. Who are we testing and why? What is the CogAT? When will testing take place? What are my responsibilities during testing? And how does remote testing work? So, who are we testing and why? This slide starts with legislation. Legislation does indicate that districts must have a clearly defined identification process, and that process must address equity and access in identification. Being able to test an entire grade level is the best way of basically throwing our net wide and finding students who would not normally be identified through a referral process alone. So that's why we're testing all students in third grade. What is the CogAT? The CogAT is a cognitive abilities test. And I like to tell kids that it's basically a problem solving test. There are three sections: verbal, quantitative, and nonverbal. In those sections, the verbal is basically word puzzles. The quantitative are basically number puzzles, and the nonverbal is basically visual puzzles. And the students we're looking for their demonstration of reasoning, using logic to solve problems, and it's really an assessment of their intellectual aptitude. It is group administered. So when your students are given a proctor time to show up for the testing, it's important that they show up on time. And when they finish each section, the proctor will be moving the group into the next section as a group. So there is a little bit of wait time in between each of the sections. Each of the subsections consists of puzzles, as I already said, but it is a timed test. So there is a 10-minute time limit. At the beginning of each section, there is a tutorial, and students are given the chance to understand how to think about the types of puzzles that they will be shown, since these are the type of questions they're not really used to seeing on an everyday basis. So it's important for them to pay attention in that tutorial, and they can also go back and repeat as much as they need to. And then once they start the test, that's when the 10-minute time limit will begin. We are testing today, November 18th, and I have opened a 6 o'clock test session for any parents who need an evening test session. If you complete all of the information that I need, then I will send you, well, obviously the session time is at 6 p.m., but I will send you your student ID and your session code. So what are the responsibilities during testing? We need an adult to be supervising the login process, and you should remain nearby. In the room is great, just to make sure that students are staying within the test. If they get to the draw screen, they understand that they are going to wait for the proctor to move on to the next section, to be reminded that there are three sections and that they aren't finished the entire test until they've taken all three sections. Students are required to have their camera and mics on for the entirety of the test. And so you want to provide a quiet and distraction-free testing environment. They are not to receive any assistance on the test questions. So I explained on the previous slide that there is a tutorial section, and if students need help understanding what the tutorial is saying, it's okay to elaborate there. Once they are in the test, you really need to let them figure it out. The answer should be, "I'm sorry, I can't help you." And then once they are finished in a subtest and they get to the draw screen, we want to make sure that they're not like navigating to another website. that they should stay on that draw screen. Okay, so a security commitment form must be completed that basically goes over all of these things, and it's our way of guaranteeing that you understand the test security that is needed for this. So how does remote testing work? The proctors don't have mics and we don't have a video, so we won't be able to see kids. Well, sorry, the kids won't be able to see us. Proctors can see the kids and they can hear the kids. And so if a student is asking a question, we can respond in the chat box. So I know kids are really used to being able to see their teachers on that video feed, but just let them know that we're there, we're listening. And then they will log on to this website, Riverside Online Test. It has been added to Clever, so that should make it easy for them to navigate to. When they click on that website, this is what the login screen looks like, and you will need the student ID and session code. This will be emailed to you once the security commitment form is submitted. So this is a video that shows some information on what to expect with the login process.
On the day of testing, students will visit www.riversideonlinetest.com to get logged in. Students can log in using either side of the screen. If they use the left-hand side, they will be required to type in their full first name, last name, birth month, birth date.
I'm going to pause right there. We want students to only log in using the right side of the screen. So do not let them fill in their birthday and all of that information. They only log in with the right side of the screen.
And the session code. Students who use the right-hand side will only be required to type in their ID number and the session code. The students will hit sign in and then confirm their name. Students will briefly visit a draw screen and
Oops, I want to pause right there so that you can get a good look at the draw screen. The draw screen is kind of the holding place. So when students are at the draw screen, they are in the right place and they're just waiting for the proctor to start each of the sections. So when they finish the verbal portion, they will get to a draw screen, and that means they can take a little breath, they can go get a glass of water, they should remain around their computer. The proctor will hit start the next section and their screen will automatically change. So once they get to the draw screen, they don't need to do anything else. Just wait for the next section.
Screen until the system loads. On this initial screen, students must click the box in the lower left-hand corner to confirm the conditions, and then the blue Next button at the top of the page. The system will now perform a series of checks. The system will check the speakers, the camera, and the microphone. Students must hit check speakers and then confirm they can hear the sound. As of now, the system is checking the bandwidth, and students will wait right here. Please inform your students beforehand that this process may take a couple of minutes. Students are waiting for a green box to appear at the top of the page with a confirmation message that they can continue on. Students will then hit next and take a picture. Students should sit straight up and try to take a picture within the frame. Students will confirm and hit next. The student will confirm their picture and name. They will then receive a message that the system is now recording their microphone and camera. The student will now wait here for the proctor to approve them for testing.
Okay, so are there any questions? If you have any questions, you can go ahead and email me. Once you have finished watching this video, then you need to complete the security commitment form, and your student will be added to the roster for tonight.